Well, first of all, where's my brother with the floating mic? First of all, my name is Marcus Coleman. A little background about myself. I actually, in '06, founded and the former president, founder and former president for Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network, and responsible for the acquisition of the Southeastern Regional Headquarters being based in historical West End District. Maybe about close to 2 years now, I have formulated a group called Save Ourselves, and I no longer operate up under National Action Network, but keep close ties to the national president and many presidents across the country. I am a husband. I am a father of 2 boys, ages 22 and 10. I am a head football coach for the past 5 years, with the exception of this season, operating out of Union City Parks and Rec. I am a student from Brookview Elementary School, Camp Creek Middle School, and Westlake High School. I'm South Fulton. I'm College Park. I know this is going to be a charged issue, but I want you to understand my point that some of you have possibly seen me in the media opposing this particular proposal. Now, for those who heard that outburst out in the hallway, I apologize for that. I'm not speaking about you, ma'am. Of course, I'm talking about in the hallway. I imagine it's going to be more of that, but I hope that those of us in here, as I stated earlier, can be respectable. My situation or my position is clear. First, let me explain why we are here. It is my position, from working with many elected officials on state, national government levels, even under the tutelage at one point in time of Reverend Sharpton, even as far as the White House. It is my understanding that elected officials represent the people. It is my understanding that when you have legislation, whether it be proposals or whether it be changing in laws, that you hear from the people that they affect. Now, this needs to be said. First of all, I ain't got a reason to lie to anyone in this room. When I first heard of this proposal, I did the right thing, as anyone but black people should do. Because one thing for sure, the media loves to see us attacking each other. We know that. That's not the route I took. And I'm a little disturbed by what I just heard, because the route I took did not involve the media. The route I took did not involve the press. The route I took did not even involve the community. At that particular time, I reached out and said, listen, from the business owners that I've talked to, from the many people that I've talked to, they are opposed. Why don't we bring everybody up under one roof and talk it out first? I was told that that wasn't necessary. And then just a minute ago in the hallway, I was called a bald-faced liar for saying that, and I'm far from that. That's part of the problem. And even if you came here in support, and even if you're upset with me, because I very much understand the members of World Changers support their pastor, and I get that. But even if you're upset with me, I want you to understand you have elected officials that say one thing behind closed doors, and they do another. And we just got an example of that. So when I was told that there was no, quote, end quote, I don't have to meet with anybody because there's nothing to discuss. See, some of you all who are for this, you don't have that information. At that point in time, I'm not all in the press. I'm not speaking negatively about this proposal, even though I felt the same way. Even though I felt that way. I simply wanted an elected official who was proposing this to hear from you. Plain and simple. Yay or nay. The door was slammed in my face. So I started mobilizing from that day forth. First of all, Ariston Waiters, the 19-year-old laid face down in the red Georgia clay and 2 bullets put through his back by Officer Luther Lewis. Me and that mother talk daily. I'm getting ready to tell you these things so you'll understand more about me, and then I'll go into the pros and cons. All the way down in Valdosta, Georgia, a 17-year-old by the name of Kendrick Johnson. I represent that family as their official spokesperson and fight bigotry and racism every day. Because, when you go outside of 285, you in Georgia, Jack. So I fight here in Georgia and I fight down in Valdosta. I just left Georgia Tech today, been there since noon, with attorney Benjamin Crump, who represents Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, the 10 poor sisters that were raped and sexually battered by an officer that got convicted. Baby boo-boo, I go outside the color lines, Laotian and white, 19-month-old toddler that his face blown open by a botched, no-knock drug raid. Everybody, did you hear that? So as you're formulating what you want to say, just understand who you're speaking to. And when I say that, I'm not trying to act like I'm holier than thou. I'm just saying I'm one that's really in the trenches. I'm one that's really fighting for the people. I'm one that's mentoring your children out there in athletics. I can go on and on and on about the people I know and the things that I do. We clear on that. In 1974, my grandparents and my mother, who had me at the age of 15, see, one thing about me, I'm not scared to put my whole life out in front of you. I have nothing to hide. Moved right off of Ben Hill Road, specifically Suline Drive. I remember Old National Highway when there used to be a Steak and Ale, when there used to be National 4, not even 7. I remember before they put the 3 theaters on top. Levitt's, Service Merchandise, Kmart. Now, again, listen, I know several of you are my senior. My point I'm trying to make is I remember a time when Old National Highway was not only respected, but it was nice. And you know what it is right now? Many of you live here. Many of you have businesses here. It's a war zone right now. How do I know that? Because I have literally sat down with others, with current and former gang members who are responsible for the killing and everything else up and down Old National. See, 22 years old is my oldest son. I had him when I was 19. These deaths affect me because not only am I a black male, but I have a son that age. Then I've got a son 10 years old, and if you had to sign in today, you met him. Doing a great job of helping folks sign in. My wife here, 11 years married, 20 years together. Black family. So my position is not based on anything other than righteousness in my eyes. Now, I know righteousness can be defined in many ways. Let me rephrase that. Some will say righteousness can be defined in many ways, but I beg to differ. The reason that I personally, and many that I've talked to, are against this proposal is this. You know, even though I know that this is not against policy, but I do understand that it is not normal practice. When an elected official is doing things that is not even in their district, it causes you to question. When an elected official, see, Old National, when is the last time you all have heard Old National talked about so much for something other than death and destruction? Old National's buzzing right now. Well, here's my thought process as being an activist. Using, and I used to think that was a bad word until I understood that if you are for righteousness, using is not a bad word. Using all of this activity and this platform to highlight the real issues on Old National Highway. Blood is running through the streets on Old National Highway in the forms of homicides, even vehicular homicides, aggravated assaults, strong-arm robberies, hit and runs, prostitution, drugs. You have a police department that allows these youngsters to operate at almost every gas station here on Old National. Have you seen them? Now, some of these youngsters are youngsters that I have to mentor. Some of these youngsters, let me first say this. We, with myself included, have failed these youngsters. Myself included. So when I hear of a dedication to an individual that went to high school with my uncle at Lakeshore, that has been here for a duration of time, that same amount of time that the decline has happened here in Old National. Now, is that his fault? I just said that is all of our faults. Life has gotten faster, stronger. People have gotten disconnected. And I'm going to keep it real. The problem mostly started when they closed down these individual high schools and started combining schools, and the individualism of the neighborhood left. M.D. Collins, Lakeshore, businesses closing. Some people sat back in the cut who had the financial means and started scooping up a lot of these closed businesses and lots. Does that make them something wrong? No, it makes them a businessman. But how? Union City is the closest that I've come to as far as publicly leading the charge when it comes to activism. I'm all around the southeastern region and even some of the country. But when this happened, this hits home. And when I know that there are others that are out here in the trenches getting in between the bloodshed, I ask myself, could there not be, or should there not be, more focus on making those of you feel safe, making those of you, not just in your community, but when you come down Old National? Could our elected officials not use their energy for that? Oh, going to the road. That's my next step. Here we have the world's busiest airport, Hartsville, Jackson. A state highway that lawmakers can easily put pressure on our beloved governor here in this state. But do they do that? Pressure, meaning the state highway is funded straight from the governor's office. We need better lighting on Old National Highway. We need wider sidewalks, wider streets on Old National Highway. We need pedestrian crosswalks to prevent the hit and runs and the vehicular homicide. But we worried about dedicating the street? Man, what sense does that make? Now, this is my opinion, and I'm strong with it. Others can come up and give theirs. But remember, the purpose of organizing this is so you can voice your opinion when it was said that you couldn't. Blood is running rampant down Old National, and let's try to start, excuse me, because we're already starting. Join the fight in preventing the bloodshed. Join the fight in the revitalization of Old National Hwy. Before you dedicate the street to a well-known prosperity preacher where prosperity is nil around this area. And listen. Pastor Creflo Dollar, which is some of you guys, pastor, went to school with my uncle. Okay, I know he's from around the way. That is why I include him and myself and you with failing this community. But we don't have to stay in this. But to me, if we do this dedication, and I'm praying everybody votes no, if we do this dedication, what are we saying about our community? I'm going to touch a nerve with this one, and I'm going to pass the mic in about 5 minutes. I'm going to touch a nerve right here. But if we can literally raise $65 million for a Learjet, can we not spend? Let me say this. Because, hey, the criticism will be, well, we're always trying to tell folks what to do with their money. That's not, listen, that, if it wasn't for this dedication, we know World Changes operates here on Old National and is growing. We know that. The only reason the criticism is coming, is because of the dedication. Now, you'll hear from the opposition, and I mean from my stance, a litany of programs that is happening over there at World Changes. And I'm not disputing that. But let me tell you what I am disputing. The tentacles from that program don't leave Creflo Island. And when I say that, I'm not trying to be sarcastic. If the programs were so effective, then we wouldn't have the issues that I just ran down here. Man, that's just real. A lot of us have become scared of the youth. And I'll say this. Some for good reason. A lot of them are disrespectful. A lot of them, terrible language, pants hanging all down their backside. But for folks like me, people, who I'm able to see through that. I'm able to see the conditions that developed that young man to be disrespectful. And you know what? I see them when they lock behind bars, or they ain't tough then. I see them at the funeral of their brothers or their mothers. They ain't tough then. I engage them whether it causes a confrontation or not. So for me, I'm raising a young black male. I can't be scared of them. I'm on the football field with young black males. Why am I saying this? Because what does that say when we dedicate a street when young black men are failing all over that street? Not just dying. What message are we sending? You know what message we sending? We sending the message of we ain't really concerned with the youth. We just concerned with awarding folks and whatever those awards lead to. I'll say that again. Whatever those awards lead to. I actually thought that when this started becoming news, call me naive, I actually thought that Pastor Creflo Dollar would say, hey, listen, I don't even want the street named after me. That's what I thought. not renamed, dedicated. I understand that. We understand, let's make it clear, it is not changing the name, it is a dedication. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. For those who are just so stuck on saying it's not, you missed all the problems that I listed happening on Old National, or either you don't care about them. It's just that simple. Because I would love for you to put the same energy in this dedication into revitalizing this old. You know what somebody told me the other day in the barbershop? You know what somebody told me in the barbershop the other day? Mr. Coleman, I appreciate what you're doing, after he talked to me. And he's a member of World Changers. But he said, well, how about we dedicate it first and fix the problem second? This is the thinking of some people. Times are too serious to give anybody passes, including our own. A lot of people told me, well, not a lot, Marcus, it's just going to be a battle in the media, and it's going to make us look bad. Listen, I don't want you to appear in the press as if you're attacking a black woman. I'm not attacking a black woman. I'm attacking an ideology. I'm attacking an ideology when I'm out here in the middle of attacks. Hey, man, listen. I take this so seriously. Jamie Foxx once said something. I promise you I'm passing the mic to hear from the first speaker. Jamie Foxx once said something that Benjamin Crump just reminded me as we just passed the 4-year anniversary where Trayvon Martin would have been 21. And Jamie Foxx and other celebrities got on board. And Jamie Foxx, made a point. And I'm not just into quoting celebrities, but this was profound. What's the use in having influence and you don't use it correctly? So how about the elected officials around here use their influence correctly? So you will hear from speaker after speaker. You will also hear, I didn't even see you, Senator. Thank you for being here, State Senator Vincent Ford. You will also hear from State Senator Vincent Ford. And we have, to my surprise, but a delightful one, State Senator Donzella James. I'm glad that she could attend. So being from here, in conclusion, both of my grandparents are deceased. My mother had me, again, like I told you, when she was 15. So Old National reminds me of my grandparents. My grandfather was 23 years in the Navy and 21 years with Eastern Airlines. Who remembers Eastern? If Old National was vibrant, if Old National wasn't a war zone, if Old National had any inkling of the early 80s, 70s, then I swear to you on everything in this church, I wouldn't be opposed to this. But on my watch, and me being from this area, there's no way that I will not do everything in my power to prevent some award being given in the name of a street when brothers and sisters are losing their life. I want to hear from you too, Brother Nick. We have a sister, I believe she was passing out her cards for state rep, I believe. So we're here from, first of all, the rules. I might have been long-winded. But I mean, with getting us up under this roof, I hope y'all at least extended that courtesy to me. But we're going to go about 3 minutes. We'll be sitting right there. We'll knock once, Means you got about 30 seconds. Then we'll do like the days back in Malcolm Center 4. They used to say, make it plain. Make it plain mean come get off the mic. Everybody cool on that? Everybody together on that? And at the end of the speakers, we will do a head count on yay or nay. Cool? As my pop used to say, copacetic. All right. Let's have Deborah Bazemore. Deborah Bazemore. Yes, ma'am. Come to the mic. Oh, I'm sorry. We got a floating mic. I'm sorry about that. Is there anyone else before Ms. Bazemore starts that wants to speak? If you want to speak, please come up. Please come right here so I can call you up. Just come right here, please.
Actually, good evening, everyone. I think I met most of you at the door or out in the parking lot. And I am actually running for state representative for House District 63, which you all are in. I came to hear what the constituents have to say. I believe that people should have the right to voice their opinion. And I'm here just like I live in the community. I've been here for 11 years and working in your community for 10 for you all. So I'm going to sit here and listen to what everyone has to say also and what everyone feels. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Reverend Lockhart? Reverend Lockhart? Yes, sir.
My name is Penham Lockhart, and I am a member of the community. As a matter of fact, I had gotten a call one morning from one of our outstanding members when this issue had come up, and he told me that he had called Senator James's office and was told that all of that that we were hearing was just a lie and not to worry about it. I said, well, let me wait and see and read what the resolution says, and I'll bring it back to our meeting. And of course, I was able to pull the resolution 805, and as I read through that, the dedication was noted and so forth, but I look at the same thing. And so as we met in our homeowners association, I just want you to know that we unanimously voted against this proposal. And so we stand on record with all of the homeowners of the Chippewa Forest subdivision as being against this resolution. Thank you.
And that's understandable, so your backs aren't to everybody. Ken Harris? Ken Harris? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That'll work for you.
Good evening. I am the president of the board of directors of Camelot Club Condominiums. Those of you who don't know, we have 40 acres right down the street with 338 homes. My board of directors are stunned, and I'll tell you why. In 2009, one of our buildings burned down to the ground. 22 families were displaced. The county showed up, the police showed up, everybody showed up, and every church on this street showed up except for the one with all the money. I was stunned. We called and said, can you help? We've got 22 families displaced. These are not just black people, these were East Indians, white people, all kinds of people. And nothing. We've had problems with youth coming through our property. One was killed 3 months ago. Didn't even live here. Lived in Riverdale. No world changers. They didn't offer us a cup of coffee when we had disasters on our property. And we just feel, name it Camelot National or something, but not this. I've never wanted to speak badly about Pastor, like this young man. The man who hired me in my career with United Negro College Fund. For 20 years I worked there, was Creflo's father's best friend. He was a police officer, right? So I come to this point in time to tell you, and we don't holler very much from Camelot. We just go about our own business. But we're not going about this business. And all the elected officials that are sitting in this room, just go over and see how many votes come out of our community. Thank you.
Ms. Jill Lindsay. Right here, ma'am. Right here. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Jill Lindsay. I attend World Changers Church. I adopted part of Old National in 2006. I have been diligently working with DOT on Old National. Some of the things that I've seen on Old National has upset me to the point where I work tirelessly every week contacting DOT. The thing I don't understand is I pray for partnerships for Old National because we can't do it by ourselves. I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm tired. I'm coming to this meeting because I'm upset because partnerships is what funds communities. And World Changers is one of the biggest churches on our street. And without partnerships, nothing gets done on our streets. So I want to tell you some of the things that are going on Old National. I talked to Public Works yesterday at Fulton County. We're getting sidewalks from Flat Shoals to 138. Effectively in 2017, they're working on the designs as we speak. We're working with the sidewalks. We're working on the right-of-ways. I deal with that every summer, making sure that all our right-of-ways are pushed back to the tree line so that if people are jogging or walking, they can be able to do so without getting poison ivy or bitten by snakes. The lights, the curb appeal, the city sweepers. It's a lot of stuff that's going on. Signs are down. We call DOT. The sign is down. Come pick it back up. I don't understand it. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I hear people talking about Old National, but I don't see them calling DOT. DOT knows me by name, first name. I send out emails every week. I'm just trying to get to know the people that really care about Old National. That's why I came to this meeting. Thank you.
Very good. I'll just piggyback one thing because the sister seems very sincere. Excuse me? Oh. But one thing is for sure, they've been in the works and it's been in the plans for years. We had a individual that I'm very cool with, his son, who lost the Fulton County Commissioner seat. I remember a year and a half ago going to a meeting where the plans for the lighting and the sidewalk were right around the corner. So all I'm saying is, I'm not here to argue with anybody that's pro building this community. But don't let elected officials pull the wool over your eyes. They'll say something to you in a town hall, but then they'll fight for a northern district up under the Gold Dome. That's all I'm saying. Let's stop being used and taken advantage of, because one of the worst mistakes that was made with me was I do so much in other areas they forgot I was from College Park. So I hear those Negroes don't vote from Negroes. I hear that those Negroes don't care about their community from Negroes. So as they promising you one thing, trust me, some of them are pulling the wool over your eyes. Horace Cockridge. They wanted to see you, sir. The sisters in the back requested to see you. So if you could come. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't blame them. This charged up. They want to put a face with that position. Yes, sir.
My name is Horace Cockridge. I'm the president of Pine Tree Meadows Homeowners Association. I know a lot of you get a whole lot of emails from me, and I'm forever on my computer trying to get you all informed about so many things. I just want to make a point. Now, this Old National trying to get sidewalks, that's been in the making for a long time. And a lot of us been trying to get that. We want some more things on that. But another point I want to make, I believe is that the Constitution did an anecdotal type of survey, and over 1,200 people who were voting in South Fulton had about, I think it was 87% were against changing the name. I could see Cam Newton or someone of that nature. But we're talking about some this. That's our boy. But we're talking about somebody. But world changes, tying up the traffic, that type of thing. We don't need that.
Now, I played ball for Westlake High School up under Coach Allen. So, Cam, let me tell you what the opposition will say to that, sir. I'll tell you what they're going to say. We always highlight athletes. That's the only folks we highlight. No, listen, I'm not against you on that because, again, I graduated from Westlake, played football for Westlake, and, yes, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna keep. I'm with you. Let me before I say this. Maybe a month and a half ago, there is a group. What's up, Ronnie? There is a group newly formed called Southside Coalition. It consists of people like myself, Cam Newton Foundation, y'all, Adam Pac-Man Jones, C.J. Stewart of Leeds, who works very closely with the Atlanta Braves, Brian Bean, who has a mentorship program. All of us are graduates of Westlake. I can name about 5 others, and this is real. You can call our office, or you can call Marvin Arrington's office to fact check what I'm saying. About a month before I heard of this dedication, we are still trying to organize a meeting with all of the Fulton County commissioners. Emma Darnell didn't even bother to respond. See, I don't mind calling elected officials. One thing about me, if those who know me, sometimes it can be a bad label to some. Like, he'll call you out. You better be careful. I don't play ball. But when stuff is too serious, I almost slipped. When stuff is too serious, I don't think you want people playing ball with your lives in your community. So my point I'm trying to make, the purpose of that meeting was to highlight the foundations, the organizations, and the programs that many of us, or all of us in that coalition, are already doing and wanting government to help funnel the problems to us. But they don't care about that. because we don't even get a return phone call about that. Even Strickland, Yvonne